All right. All right, Tim, we're ready to go? Yes? I will share my screen. Okay, so yesterday at the end of the class, we were working on lesson 3. And I think everyone got it. So if you could pull up the query from lesson 3, it is named EUPO dpart underscore exp and your initials. And then if you could run it and tell me how many rows you have. All right, 992 from Cheryl and Justin. All right, so did everybody else get 992 rows?
Euler?
I'm here.
All right, Alex. Yep, I got thumbs up. How about Queen and Kimberly?
Remind me, what page did we leave off yesterday?
Yeah, so yesterday I think we left off at exercise 3, page 76 on the participant guide.
Thank you.
Kimberly, you still running it?
Yeah, my internet is being slow this morning. I'm still trying to log in,
Okay.
but I think that's what I got yesterday, so
Are you getting sick?
a little bit, yeah.
You sound like me. I'm getting sick.
You don't have to wait for me though. I can follow along.
Okay. How about Queen? You got are you in? Are you logged in, Queen?
Yep.
You're in, you got 992 rows? All right, great. Okay, so Tim, a quick review of what we went over yesterday, and then we'll go to lesson number 4. So yesterday we went over all the tabs here on the Query Manager, the Records tab, which is where you can go and look for your for the records or tables to join. And there's a basic search, there's an advanced search. And if you click on, say, a table, it will let you know what kind of join you can use, standard join or left outer join. So most of the time you will use a standard join, but you will use a left outer join if you have 2 tables and one table doesn't have an exact match to the first table, you would use a left outer join so that you can pull in the data even if there's no row on the second table. So this is more of an advanced function. We won't go into detail too much on it, but that's what a left outer join is. Query tab. This is where you see all the records that are selected for your query. You can click on the plus sign to see all the fields. Click on this little icon, A to Z, to sort by alphabetical order, and then back and forth, just like that. You can check all the fields. You can uncheck all. You click on this plus button to add your criteria right here. And then within the criteria tab, you have here is you can choose whether it's a field that you are that's going to be your criteria or an expression. So the expression is more of an advanced feature. It allows you to do some some more complex things, and this would be part of the advanced class too. So we won't go over this too much. Your condition types, between does not exist, equal to exists, greater than in list, in tree is not no, is no, less than, like, not between, not equal to, not greater than, not in list, not in tree, not less than, not like. So just pick one that is most appropriate for what you're trying to do. And then for your second expression type, you can have a field, an expression, a constant, a prompt, which we will talk about today, and a subquery. So this is more of an advanced feature, but what it is, so you have your main query, and then as part of your criteria, you can have another query. It's called a subquery that goes underneath that. It can be useful, although to get good at it, it does take some practice. All right, expressions is what we just talked about. When you add an expression, you have, so these are your field types. Could be character, date, time, and drilling, long, number, assigned to number, time. You can define the length and so on. So just very briefly go over this, and then prompts. We'll come back to the prompts. Fields, your field listing, you can reorder your column headings on the left-hand side, and you can sort your data on the right-hand side. And if you check on this descending box, then the order will be in descending. Otherwise, it will be in ascending order. What else here? You have, your format. Here's your order by xlat is translate. So for example, like PO status, right? It's has a translate value. You can click on edit and choose a translate value, short or long. So for example, instead of seeing a C, like PO status C, what does C mean? It may mean closed, it may mean canceled, and so on. Heading text, right? You can click on the edit and choose a short description, a long description. You can override with your own text value. Over here, you see this, the aggregate. We'll go over this in a little bit. And okay, and I think that pretty much covers the fields tab. Oh yeah, you can click on the plus sign here to add your criteria. And here's your criteria. You can edit, right? You can edit your criteria. Let's say A dot business unit. Let's say instead of B, maybe you want to change it to C, right? C business unit. You can do that. You can change it to a constant prompt subquery expression. All right, I hit cancel, so it did not take it. We're back to B dot business unit. You can reorder your criteria to make it a little bit easier to read. So let's say I want my status to be a little bit closer up to 7, for example. So now it's up here. You can group your criteria by using your parentheses like that, right? You can change it from an or and to and not or not. Most of the time it's going to be and. Every now and then you might use or, but if you use or, you may have to group your criteria, and if you don't, then this or is a standalone criterion that will execute, and let's say everything here matches, and then or, right? So all these would be like considered one unit, and then or. So if it finds a department ID in C, it will pull in regardless of whether it's belonging to like EM, UNV. So yeah, just be cognizant of this. If you change it to or, you may need something like this. So that's Kimberly. All right, Kimberly, you back?
Yep.
All right.
I'm still, my internet's working, but I'm still not able to log into the practice environment.
What user ID are you using?
It won't even get to the login screen.
Have you
Okay, do you have your
connected to
VPN?
Oh, I'm not on VPN. I forgot that step this morning. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Yeah, just give us a thumbs up when you're able to connect, Kimberly. Next tab, having is an advanced feature. It is used usually when you have an aggregate function, like a count or having or something like that. So you would add use a having criteria. So we'll also save this for the advanced class. And the very last tab, view SQL. See, this is where I guess people like Alex and Quinn may like to go to and see what the SQL is. After you write your query, you can go and copy this, or if you find a public query that you like, you can copy this and stick it into your query, your SQL tool, and manipulate it there. And Alex did ask if let's say we had he had a SQL, can he plop it in here, and then the query manager would say build itself. So unfortunately, that's like it's a one-way street where we could get the SQL from the query manager tool, but we can't. We have to build it from scratch. If we have the SQL text like this, we have to go to query manager and build it from scratch.
Well, we can always make a suggestion to Oracle for that improvement, right?
Oh, yes. And the run tab. I think I made I put an R in there, so now I get too much data. Then you want to rerun the query. Here's a rerun button. Download to Excel, download to XML. Do a view all if you want to see everything here. And there you have it. I'm gonna pause to see if anyone has questions, comments. Looks like we're good, right?
All good here.
Okay, so now I just have to move my slide deck over here. We know. All right, let's talk about prompts and aggregate functions. So what are prompts? All right, prompts can be used to refine the query. And it's instead of hard coding a value into your criteria, a runtime prompt will display it's almost like a question for you. Let's say you want to run something, and instead of hard coding in the data range, it asks you what data range do you want to use, and then you would enter that into the query at runtime, and the query would take the prompts and return the values based on the prompts. So let me see if I can illustrate that with an example. All right, you see how we have here a criterion PO date between, say, date 1 and date 2, and these values are hard-coded into the query. So every time we run, we're stuck with that data range. So let's see if we could change to prompts, okay? And so for the first one, PO date, okay, that's good. Between, yes. And then here you see how it says like constant and constant, like that's a constant, that's a constant. So we want to change it to expression and expression. Okay. I'm going to add a prompt here. Oh, okay, there are no prompts defined yet. Okay, so let me hit cancel here. Go to prompts, add prompt. See that? So I would pick a date field. And it could be something like a from date. Okay, so there's a lot of date fields here. I'll just pick like a from date, that one. And here's the text, like from date. You can change it, like from date, say from accounting date. Or you could leave it as is, right, like that. Hit OK.
Sometimes,
Yeah,
sometimes
go
on those, the way you want to put your labels on those prompts, when he gets to it, you'll see that you can make the prompts required versus optional, and you might want to build that into your heading text too.
Yes, good point. So from counting date, and if it's optional, sometimes people say we use like optional, or sometimes you might see them, like shorten it like that. And then if you want to mark it optional, right, you mark it optional, otherwise it's going to be required. Okay, so here we'll make it, we'll take the defaults and we'll come back and change. So I'm going to add another, a second prompt. That's going to be my to date. Oh, here it is, to date. To counting date. Take the defaults. Hit OK. Go back to my criteria. Go to edit. Expression. Add prompt. So here's my, you have your to here. Your from date. Your to date. Hit OK. Do I save? I'll run it. So now, see that star means it's required. So if I try to run it, it can't run it. Let's see if we get any data. See how new the database is. Okay, it's not that new. Rerun query. We have to go back to last year. Let's see. Ooh. All right, go back to 2020. All right, so there it is. Gonna go back here. And I'm gonna pause here to see if anyone wants to ask a question or say something. So far, so good. The prompts are, is it making sense? You guys have probably seen this already, right? As you're working with the queries and so on.
Has anybody run a query that they've gotten the prompts that they've had to fill out?
Yep, all the time.
Yep, I have to.
Have you ever come across one that didn't tell you that it was required and you figured it out, or it didn't
All the time.
Okay.
Legally, I think, yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's so what one of the goals of the class is to is to hope that the people that take the class run with it, work with query, and can become one of the go-tos in their department or their with their roll up of responsibilities. And so we kind of have people out on campus and through the organization that develop the query skills. So it might be something that you might be able to fix for them if it's, if they've copied it into the private queries, or you can contact me and say, hey, this query needs XYZ, or Van, because we both Van and I and our teams can get in there and fix queries that you see something wrong with. And I know it might not be wrong in the sense of giving you bad answers, but in the sense of making you work efficiently, it's not quite correct.
All right. Thank you, Larry. So a few more things about this prompt box here. You can specify, say, a default value. This is saying invalid prompt default value. Maybe it doesn't like my my date, Larry, you think? But let me try this. See if I can put a T in here.
It may not like your format.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. All right, so there it is, right? You could put in a default value, which you can then override. So that could be helpful. And if you want to make your prompt optional, there's a box here that will make it optional. So it can't be optional and have a default value. So it's either or, right? Okay, let's try another prompt. Let's see, where are we? Criteria, PO status. PO status is here. I want to try a prompt that has like a lookup table. So let's see, maybe it's build up. Oh. Okay, well, let's see if we can figure this out together. Hit okay. All right, origin is SCI, okay. So we are going to say let's prompt for the origin. So do a new prompt. So it comes up here, origin. Oh, and look at that. The prompt table is filled in for us. Nice. Hit okay, hit okay. Save it. Run. 12/01/20. Origin. Oh, wow, look at that. There's nothing coming up. And actually, this is something that you might see when you try to build a query and you want a prompt and there's a set ID, right? There's a set ID on the prompt table. So because the set ID is not filled out, you really can't prompt with a lookup. So what I've seen is people would just take out, right? They just remove the prompt table.
Yeah, change it to no prompt.
Yep, thanks.
That no help. Anyway.
Okay, so what we have now is like the origin is a prompt and there is no prompt table here, which means as a user, when you run it, you need to know, right? You need to know what origin to put in. And if you're familiar with the data and so on, yeah, you would know all the origins, but what if you're new? Like, what if I say, I'm looking for origin that starts with van? Not gonna find it. So how do we solve this? What we need is we need the set ID, right? We need a set ID as a prompt. So what I'll do is I'm gonna add a prompt. called set ID. I was putting a default value. So at Emory, we have many set IDs. So it's a little bit tricky as to like what the correct set ID should be. But most of the time you're gonna see either share or EMUNV. So I will start with share, okay, and see.
So for people who don't know, why don't you explain the difference between those two?
Share and EMUNV.
Yeah, EMU is of course Emory University, right? But what's share?
Yeah, so share is broader than that. So we have Emory University and we also have Emory Healthcare. So when you see a set ID EMUNV, usually the set of values would pertain to Emory University. And when you see share, it means it could be used by Emory University and also Emory Healthcare, like everybody.
And if you want to run on just Emory University, you should be using share, right? Is that what you're saying?
That
Yeah,
depends.
I was waiting for that. Well,
Depends, yes.
I
That
set you up here,
depends.
man. I set you up. It's a
Because
trap.
some values you can have both EMUNV and share one such say chart field I know of, like department ID. I think department ID and like account. You have EMUNV and you have share. So as you're querying, you have to be aware of like which set ID should I be using.
And how would I know that? I'm setting you up, Ben. I'm setting you up. Happy Friday.
You might have to contact your functional compass person or somebody in the department, somebody in the controller's office. Maybe they would know, like a Justin or a Kimberly.
Usually the set IDs are set if the information is business unit specific. We use the set ID share for values that are used across business units, and for in the background, more of a background use to do our consolidations. So it's the data that pertains to transactions are usually going to be for university EMUNV, but some of the other data might be shared across 2 or 3 of the Emory University business units, because we have probably 2 or I think it's 3 or 4. Somebody on this call might know how many we use on the university side. Healthcare, we use about 12, but and there's not, you really wouldn't know. You could always pop me a note and I can look at how the chart field's set up and let you know as well.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, that's one of the challenges of, being a report writer is knowing like what set of data to pull.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even for me right now, whenever I do a new report or a new query, I really have to spend some time researching to make sure that I am, getting the right. Well, first find the right tables, and then within the tables, like which set of data, if there's multiple set IDs of business units or project statuses or whatever. So it can be quite a bit of work just to find out what you need to query and where to get the data. So, yeah, but the good news is you have a whole support team behind you. We're here.
And sometimes you run a query with put some filters on it and just just run it to see kind of what's on the table, and you might be able to figure it out. Also, the running a query doesn't alter any of the data. So and of course online queries, if you're running a query that runs too long, it'll stop. You just won't be able to do much else until it stops. But it won't bring the system down because of the settings. So, sometimes I run into a trial and error just to see what the data looks like on the table.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, so just like what Larry said, let's say I don't know what's in the origin table. So I would just do a new query tab and pull up the origin table, check all, run it, and voila, we see that share is the only set ID here. So if I had put in EM, UNV, I wouldn't have found anything, right? So let's see if this, oh, I need to specify, yes, this as a default share set ID. Okay, so what I need, I think, Larry, is I need to go here, go back to query, and if I run, that does not pop, well, let's see, I don't, yeah, I don't think it's gonna pull back yet. Oh, it does. Okay, but what we want, right, we want the prompt in here.
Yeah, you have to jump through a bunch of hoops and it'd be, trial and error. It's not something I'd probably try to set in the class.
Yeah. Let's see if it pops up. So it still doesn't pop up yet. And that's because the prompt table requires a set ID, right? And I'm not prompting for a business unit or set ID in here, so it doesn't know what set ID to use.
But if you go to the query,
Mm-hmm.
it's which table was that you're prompting on?
It's origin _ TBL.
Oh, so it's off the header table. So it's off the header. So
well,
go in there and set the set ID. Well, set a prompt on the set ID and see if that helps.
Yes, you're right. So I have to see if there's a set ID.
Well, it'd be on the same table that you're doing your other prompt.
Okay. So let me see if I can join the origin table here directly to the PO header.
You still may not know the origin, but you can look.
Yeah, so okay. So anyway, as you guys can see, I mean, like as you're building a query, these are some of the things that come up that let me see if I have a prompt for this. Business unit, PM, USB. Yes, these are some of the issues that you will encounter as you're building a new query. All right, we take that set ID out, put business unit in, run variable one. See if it gives me set ID. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there we go, I guess. But that's not what I'm getting over here, right? Okay. So I'll come back and work on this during the break. But what I just want to demonstrate here is when you do a prompt, and let's say your prompt table, right? If your prompt table has a set ID, you have to add another prompt and specify your set ID in there for the values to show up. Otherwise, what you can do is remove the prompt table. So just so that you can you can keep going right now. You can at least type in an origin and then keep going with your query. All right, I'm gonna pause here. Anybody want to make any say anything? Okay, so let's move on to the aggregate functions. Save my query. So where do you see the aggregate functions? You would see it in when you go to fields and edit, you see here aggregate, right? You have sum, count, minimum, maximum, average, count distinct. So let's say I were to run this query, 120120. I get 776 row, right? Actually, let me do one thing. Let me put in the default value here so I don't have typing it. All right, 776 rows, download to Excel. All right, if I sum up my merchandise amount, what do I get? All right, 1.7 million or so. Now, are these all I guess these are all unique.
May want to make it so. Let's say you want to just have sorry about that. You just want to see how much it is for each supplier.
Okay.
So you take off all those values, all those other fields, other than the supplier and the amount. Kind of the quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Because when you have sometimes when you're querying large volumes of data, you are you get back a lot of lines that really don't have any unique values. You're just getting extra lines because there's a unique value on a field you didn't even select. So to get those to aggregate into a total, so you're not constantly having to put a total on your result, you can do the aggregate in the query.
Yeah, so now I'm down to 3 fields: business unit, vendor ID, which is supplier, and merchandise amount.
Now,
So
if you
let's
run that without the sum first.
Okay. So we still get the same number of rows, 776. Go here and change it to sum. Now, if you look at on the view SQL, you will see this like group by. Okay. When you have an aggregate function, you will see this. Hit OK to run.
Oh, you also got to, I did it.
Yeah,
I thought there's one other step. So go ahead and export that and you could show that it's the same. So you don't always have to pull back all the same, a lot of different fields to get something you're looking for. But you might have to do some aggregates to get to your number.
well, that looks like the same amount as what we have over here, right? Yep. Yeah, so now it's grouping everything by the two remaining fields, business unit and supplier. So when it sees a distinct, if you combine these two values into a distinct, say, string, then you get your merchandise amount. When it changes to a different supplier, then you get a different sum. And the business units are the same. But if we had a different, let's say we had another business unit called, no, say healthcare thing, and it's the same supplier right here, you would get a, oops, you would get a distinct sum for this row here. Even though the supply is the same, if your unit is different, then you get your own amount. So it's a combination of all the fields here, and then it sums by that. That's why you see on the SQL, you see that group by, and that's what it means. It's grouping by everything. So it's grouping by all the fields that are not being aggregated. So instead of doing a sum, what if you wanted to do a count? You could do that, run. So now you get a count of how many, how many rows. And if we add all, actually, let's export. Okay, let's. So if you remember over here, our original row count was something like 776, right? Subtracting out the header, 776 row. And if I unhide it here, I think I see it too. Yeah, 776. So if we go back here and we count all the rows, we should get 776. Yep, there it is. You can get the min, you can get the max, you can get the average, you get count distinct, or you get none. When you go back to none, you get all your individual data rows. All right, questions or comments? Ready to try this on your own? Actually, let me do one more. I'm going to do average. See. One thing to note here is the amounts go out to 3 decimal places. So there might be some rounding that needs to happen if you export to Excel. All right. Any questions or comments? You guys good? All right, Tim, why don't we take a 5-minute break? We're at 9:55. Let's come back at 10 and we'll go through the exercises. And then at the end, there'll be a quiz and a survey. So we're almost there, but let's take a 5-minute break and see everybody back at 10 o'clock. Thank you. All right, hello team. If you are back, please give me a thumbs up. Cheryl, Justin. Kimberly. Queen, are you back? All right, Queen is back. So let's go to page 87 on the participant guide. So I will work on the query on screen, and if you could also work on it as well, starting on page 87, exercise 1, lesson 4. So you would open up your journals query that starts with EU_GL_journals and your initials.
Hmm.
All right, team. How are we doing? So just to recap what I did, I went to the criteria tab. All right, all of a sudden my internet is spinning.
Mine is spinning too.
Okay. Can you hear me, Cheryl? I guess you can hear me, right, Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, all right. No more spinning. I'm back in business. All right, team. So what I did was I followed the instructions and I went to the criteria tab, went to the A dot business unit criterion, clicked on edit, selected new prompt, and created a prompt for the business unit. Change the edit type to prompt table and made the prompt table bus underscore unit underscore tbl underscore fs. Hit OK. And for the journal date, also converted that into a prompt by clicking on the edit table, new prompt. So the edit prompt properties box comes up, change the heading text from date to JRNL, journal date. Hit OK, OK, save. And when I go to run, if I put in EMUNV and the date in the guide, which is July 3rd, 2015, hit OK. Got 8 rows.
The direction said to change the journal date prompt to greater than instead of equal, so I was getting too many rows error.
Okay. That's true. That's true. If I change it to greater than, I'll probably get that too. Let's see. July 3rd, 2015. All right, so this is good. So we know the limit works, is restricting the query size. All right, Cheryl, you're good. All right, Tim, just give me a thumbs up if you have added the 2 prompts. Okay, that's Justin, Kimberly, Queen, Cheryl. All right, I'm just waiting for Alex's thumbs and we're good to go. Just kidding. Okay, are we ready? Make sure you save to go to exercise number 2, which is on page 94. using prompts and aggregates in AP query. So this is a brand new query that you will create.
What start and end date should we use?
To run your query, it would be 12/01/2014 and 12/31/2014. So I will put that in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this exercise, we will prompt on the business unit and two dates, the invoice start date and invoice end date, with the condition type being invoice date between those two prompts. $52 rows for all of us. I think we are on the right track. So that's great. All right, that completes exercise number 2. So we got one more to go, but before we go to exercise number 3, if I could jump back to that prompt earlier. So you guys remember we were trying to prompt for origin table. It has a set ID, and I ran it, and I saw 8 values. But it turns out only 3 are active. The other ones are inactive. So if we go back here to my query, yep. So there we are. In order for this share set ID to show up, I had to add the business unit as a prompt in here and set the default value to EMUNV. Or if there's a set ID on one of the tables here, you can set it. You can prompt for that set ID. And then the query manager tool will know based on that to go get the set ID. So without prompting for the business unit, the drop down, right? If you guys remember, the drop down came up with nothing. So that it's a little tricky, you know, whenever you have to prompt and there's a set ID. So just make sure you add a prompt for a business unit or a set ID just before that. So this is see, that's business unit, and then here's the prompt for this origin ID. Okay. Switching back to the class, the query class. We are on the final exercise. And it's on page 100. So let's get started. All right, make sure you save your query. Okay, team, if anyone's done, you can put it in the chat or give and tell us how many rows your query returns. Okay, I think we just lost Larry. I heard from Queen, I heard from Kimberly, Cheryl. All right, Justin, how you doing?
I'm not getting 54. Meaning no records.
Okay, what date did you put in?
7/1/22.
122, okay. So on your query tab, do you have project resource, project team, and PS upper definition?
Say that again?
Yeah. So on if you look on the screen on your query tab, do you have the 4 tables I have on my screen?
Yes.
You have project resource, project team, and PS upper definition?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So next, let's go to the criteria tab. A dot business unit equal to B dot business unit. A dot project ID equals to B dot project ID. A dot business unit equals to C dot business unit. A dot project ID equals to C dot project ID. C dot team member equals to D dot employee ID. So far, so good.
Yep, all that's the same.
Okay, A dot business unit equals to prompt 1.
Yep.
Start day greater than prompt 2.
Yep.
You probably got equal to.
Greater than.
Oh, greater than, okay. Account, B dot account equals to 50050.
Yep, got that.
You got that too. All right, well, let's check on your prompts. For prompt 1, let's go to edit. And for your business unit, did you use grant?
I have used the prompt table, business unit table. Going to have no prompt value, a prompt table.
Okay. So if I run that, you put in grant, right, for your business unit or EMUNV? Okay, so are you still getting 0 rows?
Yeah, how do I remove the prompt table that was on? the
Oh,
prompt?
okay. Yep. So you go to edit, right? Business unit edit.
Yep.
And so you have to go back to prompt table here. See what in the edit type, go back to prompt table. Click on that lookup glass and select no value. And then go back and change to no edit table.
Okay. Still got 0.
Yeah, 54 rows.
No, it's still 0.
0. All right. So
In my other prompt, you click that.
yeah, you want to share your screen?
Sorry, we
Welcome,
just
Larry.
had a brownout here, so I lost everything there for a few minutes.
Yep, the hazards of working at home remotely. All right, so you want to check, let's check on your start date prompt. Click on edit, please. Start date, okay, that looks good. Okay, hit okay. And let's check on your criteria. Okay, A dot business unit, B dot business unit, A project ID, B project ID, A business unit. C business unit, A project ID, C project ID, C dot team member, D dot employee ID, business unit equal to. All right, well, let's click run and see. I mean, it looks good to me. All
Is
right,
it supposed to be grant?
Yeah.
yeah.
That pesky grant group.
We bring in $1 billion a year, Larry.
Yeah, my tax.
Okay, that was the problem. Okay,
All right, well, yeah, so we have like way too many business units in Compass. All right, looks like you're good now, Justin. Thank you for that. Okay, Tim, let's pause here and do a quick review.
Did we lose somebody besides me?
Alex,
What happened to Alex?
he got pulled into another meeting.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, if you go to training in person, they can't pull you, but if you're virtual, they'll pull you.
Yeah. No, I've had somebody get pulled out of mine before. So
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so we went over the prompts, right? Yeah, sometimes if you get a prompt table and it doesn't give you the correct values, you can either try to put in a set ID or a business unit prompt, but if that doesn't work, it's best just to remove it, take it out, and just have like no table edit. That way let's just your prompt, your query would work. We went over aggregate functions. So I think one thing I didn't really talk about was account distinct here.
you're showing the class login screen.
Oh, I am. Okay, try again. Okay. Yeah, so aggregate functions, there are some count, minimum, maximum, average, and count distinct. So what's the difference between like count and count distinct? I'm gonna call on Larry, see if you want to take a shot at this, Larry.
It actually filters out the duplicates if you truly have duplicates.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's say your query, you're pulling in journal IDs and you have lines in there. So you have the multiple journal IDs. So if you do a count distinct on journal ID, it will count the distinct number of journal IDs. Versus the other count, you'll do like a row count of everything. So that's the difference. Most of the time you use count, but there are times when you would use count distinct. Minimum is what it says. It will give you the minimum value, maximum value, average, sum. Sum is something that you probably use a lot. Sum. Another thing. Yeah, did you want to say something?
No, I think you're going where I was getting ready to say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, properties. There's a distinct feature here that you can invoke. So let's say you're writing your query and you've done pretty good joins, but you're still getting duplicate rows. And you shouldn't be getting duplicates and you don't want duplicates. So you could invoke this function here, like by clicking on the distinct, and that will filter out the duplicates.
I will say that query snobs, which we don't have any at Emory. Query snobs will tell you that you don't have to use distinct if you join your tables properly. But I'll call BS on that, and so you can always check. You could check for duplicates by clicking in distinct and then running with the distinct flag on here and see if your row count changes. But I have no problem using distinct. I don't know about you, Van.
Yeah, so yeah, I try to remove the duplicates by using various joins and so on.
Yeah,
But I know that there are times when even doing all that, you still get duplicates. And so if I have no other way of removing duplicates, I would go in here and click on distinct.
go ahead and click OK and then show them the sequel where the distinct shows up in the sequel.
Yeah, right there.
That probably would have been more interesting for Alex, but
Well, I mean, I think even for you know, like a normal query builder,
yeah,
it's often that you'll get duplicate values in your query. So knowing that there's a distinct feature here for you to use, I think it's gonna be helpful. And I know some people just go in here and just put distinct just so they can filter out the duplicates. So I guess up to you, right? How up to each person how they want to use it, but it is here for you.
it's almost like if you're been reviewing your information, you feel like your information's solid, but you're getting your results are solid except for the duplicates, then yeah, then click the distinct. But you do want to verify your data some way or another to be comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, yeah, for somebody like Alex or Queen, you know, who do like query building all the time. I guess there is a little bit of a performance cost, right? To say relying on distinct to filter out things because the system is going to pull back, let's say 100,000 rows, but then you only need 20, but then it has to filter out all the distinct. So there's a little bit of a performance cost to that. So, I mean, if you've done the correct joins and stuff and you still get distinct, then yes, this will be good to use, but don't just like go straight to say not joining correctly and then using distinct to filter out. So that would be just my opinion on this. What about preferences? What's in the preferences? Oh, enable auto join. I normally have this checked because it makes it so much easier.
It defaults to that.
The union, this is a more advanced feature. And basically what you can do is you can write two queries, but then you have to line up the columns and the column format between the two queries. They have to be almost like identical twins, but one query would have different criteria than the other, and then you combine the two sets together. So yeah, we're gonna save this for the advanced class.
I think we want to go through scheduling.
Yes, let's do that.
And I go from do a schedule from the search page and then the schedule from the schedule menu.
Yep. So this is my new query. I just pulled it up in the search, and as you can see here, you can edit the query. You run to HTML, run to Excel, run to XML, schedule. Definitely look up reference. I'm gonna click on this. Oh, there's nothing here. So you can schedule your query from here.
Hey,
what run control do you use?
You make one up.
Yeah, you make one up. For me, I just make my run control the same as my query name, so I can remember.
Makes it easy.
Mhm. So you go in here, you put in your prompts, hit OK. Okay. Oh, Larry, I guess I don't have access to schedule my query. Is that right?
Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
no, I do. Okay, I do. And then here, you can have the output go to the web, or you could change it to email yourself. And you can also add other people to this.
LSGOLD too.
That's you, right?
No, the S goes between the L and the G.
Wait,
LSGOLD too.
that's a different Larry?
Yep, that's me, Lawrence.
Oh, gee. Oh, I guess we gotta be cognizant of like what the right
Yeah.
Emory net ID is.
You can put message text in, that accompanies the delivery of the Excel query. I deliver a lot of scheduled queries to AP that they don't look at. Probably got to delete that empty row.
Well, I wonder if our user IDs might be blanked out right in FS training.
You mean you talk about the email address?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just go ahead and say okay, and if otherwise it
Okay.
doesn't matter, it's just going to not send it. So when did you just run it?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to the process monitor to look.
Does everybody know how to go to the process monitor?
I do.
May have to show that navigation to people. Whenever you're running a query or running anything in the system, you can go to the process monitor and watch the status of your run.
Yep. So this is a long way. People tools, process monitor, so process scheduler, and then process monitor.
And you can look at the top part of your screen for what we call breadcrumbs that give you that navigation.
Yeah, I've got to add as my favorites to save time.
Oh God, yeah, it's got to be in my favorites.
Yeah. All right, so success here. The other way to run the query, to schedule the query, is to go to main menu, reporting, tools, query, schedule query. And I have a whole bunch here. Let me see if I can find the one I just did.
So you go through the same steps. It might look a little different, but it's the same steps to create a new one. And there I am.
Yeah. Now, another thing we could do though is,
Yeah, let's talk. You want to do recurrences?
like, you could do this also.
Yeah,
That's you, Larry.
Yeah, you could say, yeah, yep. And you could send the query to your spouse too if you wanted to. Yeah.
Or if you guys want to put your, oh, by the way, has anybody scheduled a query? I just don't want to overdo this. If you have not, please give me a thumbs up.
If you have not scheduled a query.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Kimberly. I guess everybody else has schedule.
Trying to figure out how
Okay.
many thumbs up. So the good thing about the using the ID at the bottom is not only do you get the email, but it also parks the result on your report manager. So before we get out of here, we'll go look at report manager. Thumbs up for everybody that has gone into report manager to look at some type of report that you ran. Thumbs ups. Kimberly.
No, I've not. I haven't really played around in here at all before
Oh.
this class.
Oh, okay. Okay. So so here's report manager. They don't have it quite set up correctly in the in this environment. But you would get a copy of the query would land in report manager too. So if you missed your email, you could always go to report manager to get it.
Okay.
Yeah, somehow it's not. If you can go back to the schedule query,
Mm-hmm.
I also want to show the recurrence.
Oh, you know what? What if I change my date here to that should work, right? Save.
Yeah. Okay. So not only when you schedule a query without the recurrence filled in, it runs it right away. So even though you scheduled it and it's going to run in a batch type of mode and it will give you back all your rows, even the ones that when you online you can't see. You can also use recurrence to schedule it out. So this recurrence that Van selected is going to be weekly at 5 a.m. That's on Fridays only. So so there's a lot of recurrences out there. There's usually one that will fit your need. If not, then you can contact us. But we run a lot of our queries on a schedule like this. So you can't pick specific days that the scheduling facility is not robust enough to do that. But if you wanted to get a certain report at the beginning of every week, you could send it. You can definitely run a query and tell them to deliver me every Monday morning or every morning, whatever you want that way. It's not smart enough to know when it's close. And so you can't just schedule for reports to be sent to you during close. I've tried to work my way around that. It's not been good.
Yeah. So yeah, the query scheduling tool is a very powerful tool. Especially when you pair it up with like a recurrent. That way, your query will just run. You don't even have to think about it. I guess the only thing would be if your query has prompts, right? So you have to go and update the prompts.
Right.
Unless you write your query in a way that doesn't require prompts, and then you have to think about it.
There are ways to write the query to say use today's date, use today's date minus 5 days, today's date, whatever. There are ways around it, but you have to think through every situation to make it work all the time for everything. Did scheduling the query, did that make sense? Can I see thumbs up if it made sense to you guys? Is that Quinn?
Okay, so Quinn has a question in the chat.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Let's go over to the
What
chat.
is the limitation for how many times a query can be run per day? Or the maximum number of queries that can be scheduled?
I have not hit a maximum on the number scheduled. It just has to wait its turn in the queue. So there's a the scheduler looks at all the different types of things that it's running. There's a priority. I'm thinking queries may fall behind some of the bigger reports, but you can schedule. You can have. I've got what 20 some odd queries scheduled at any one time. And you can run a query online. I mean, you can run a query as many times as you want. It'll just make you go mad, and then you have to deal with the mental health issues. But that's there are no limitations on query other than what you can bring back through the online interface, and that's why scheduling is so much more powerful, especially for people that are dealing with large amounts of data when they get back their results. That answer your question? You can give me a thumbs up, or do I go back to where am I? Where's my chat? There it is. Okay. Sorry, I lost my chat there for a minute. Had to find it under something else. I think that's it for the instruction part. Any questions from anybody about anything that we've gone over, or
Yeah, Cheryl has a
we've gone
question.
over?
So Cheryl wants to know if she can use weekly Monday 6 a.m. Is it okay since it does not have an EM in front?
Yes. Yeah, you can use it. Yeah, we probably have quite a few that use Monday at 6 a.m. So it may have to wait its turn, but it'll run pretty close to 6 a.m. And I like the email feature because that way you don't have to remember to go into Report Manager.
Yeah, and then you just add other people that you want to share your query with.
Yeah, I think going in there.
All right, Tim, does everyone have any questions, anything they want Larry and I to look into? Do you have a query that perhaps you have a question about, or just anything in general? Because I think we are at the end of the class. And so all that's left for you all to do okay, we went over these. Is to take a quiz and complete the survey. Did everybody get the quiz exercise? I think this is it right there, Larry.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and send it to everybody.
Okay.
So the assessment is there's two pieces to the assessment. One, you will you're going to get this an exercise that you'll complete and save it to your ID in the training environment, and also so that you don't lose it. Then you'll log into Brainier, and there'll be a multiple choice quiz, and some of the multiple choice questions will reference your result from that query. And once you answer a satisfactory number of questions successfully on the quiz, the result will be sent to our security team, and they will set you up with Query Manager in production, and that'll copy down to all the other environments. Some of the questions will cover things in the just discussions, but everything in the assessment is in the user guide. There's of course a lot more detail in the user guide. If you want, when you go back, and you can refer that at any time, it is an open user guide test, and you can truly take it anytime you want. So if you don't want to take it now, you can take it later. And I'm not sure, Lauren, I see Lauren's on here. Lauren, is there a time frame that they have to take it? I would say you might want to do the exercise sooner than later, so that you keep your familiarity with everything fresh, so that your exercise will be easier to do. Everybody okay with what we've told you about doing the assessment and whatnot? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay with it, or a question in the chat, which I do have pulled up now. Kimberly, just give me a thumbs up. There you go, Kimberly. Were you looking for the thumbs up?
Yeah, blocking my screen.
I have a hard time finding those things sometimes. All right, and if you have any questions, you can shoot us Van or I your questions. We can't tell you the answers, but we can maybe give you some pointers. But y'all are pretty sharp. Been impressed with this group, so
Yeah, you guys have been fantastic. Okay, so I will send this email out. Do
y'all want us to leave this? Do y'all want us to leave this up, this meeting up, and while you do it, or and Van and I can check in every once in a while? And
I'm probably gonna do it later today. I have to jump on another meeting soon.
okay, we know how busy you guys are, so it's very flexible, which is a good thing, because when they do it on site, people usually stay and try to do it. Before, we used to get kicked out of the training room. Everybody else good with closing down the meeting, or do you want to leave it up?
I'm okay with closing it down.
Okay. All right. I'm assuming that's a close down, and so we'll do that. But you can always reach us via Zoom or Teams. Oh, look who's back. Good thing we have this.
Oh, I'm back.
We have this recorded, Alex, because we just went through scheduling.
You did?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I had to attend this other meeting and I got short notice of it.
That's okay. Lauren, can we make sure that these guys get a copy of the recording?
Yes, please. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to ask Gwen, and I don't think she's comfortable showing that to me. Right, Gwen? Oh wait, I forgot you.
She's not talking to you. No, I'm just
Yeah, I don't blame her. All right, sorry to interrupt. Go on, please.
okay. So right now we just went over what the next step is. You'll get an email from Van that with this and the exercise that is part of the assessment. You'll put together the exercise query in training. Make sure you save it. The result of that query. The results of that query are referenced in the assessment and some of the questions. So it may say, what did you deliver on row 2 or something like that? And so it's just to make sure that you completed the exercise correctly. And there'll be some other questions from, in regard to things that were gone over during the class. And based on the results of that assessment, with the passing number of questions, I can't remember how many it is percentage wise, that once you pass the assessment, the system will notify the security team, and your security will be changed within a week. That's pretty much what we went over there.
I appreciate that, but I'm not gonna touch that because I already have the security. Don't want to lose it.
Yeah, some people were grandfathered in for whatever reason. So
Because I'm special. Thank you.
yes, you are special. Okay, but we're going to close this down because you can do the assessment and the survey and stuff on your own, but contact us if you need anything.
We'll do it. So thank you so much again.
Okay.
You take care.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. You've been fantastic. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I'm gonna sign off.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank
Thanks
you
again,
again.
both of you.
You're welcome.